So good morning everybody. I was just discussing about 7 stages of consciousness, and it is often accompanied by emotional conflicts, because if we observe life is itself an exam, and in fact the real exam. When your consciousness enters a body, then he is put to the exam by the life. And life is the only real exam. All other exams are meant to support life. And your success in the exam of life is about the transition from one of the quantum state of consciousness to the other. And there exist 7 levels of consciousness. And until you reach to the 7th level, you have to take birth again and again until your consciousness has accessed the 7th state, which is called the Parbrahm state. That Parbrahm is corresponded by the Sahasrara chakra, which is represented by violet color. Now, if you observe the electromagnetic spectrum with pure, then there are 7 colors corresponding to the light, white light, where violet color has highest frequency, and it is mapped up with the Parbrahma, which symbolizes that to get access to that frequency, you have to raise the frequency of your consciousness from the 1st level to the 7th level. Next we have indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. The red color corresponds to the lowest frequency, or it represents the Mooladhara chakra. And Mooladhara chakra is concerned with survival and reproduction, which is the basic function of any living organism. So, if you just observe your mind, then that mind and the brain interacts via brain waves, and the brain waves have got a frequency range ranging from the lowest to the highest, the lowest being delta and the highest being gamma. And the very process of life is a transition between these states, and that transition is often painful, disturbing, destructive, uncomfortable. But you have to do the transition from one state to another, because if you don't adapt to the changes, then you will be trapped in infinite cycles of life and death. This life is nothing but full of pain and grief. We try to run away from the pains and griefs of life, and we pretend that we aspire to seek pleasure. But if you seek pleasure, then the quest inside you of seeking pleasure exists till you don't have access to the pleasure. But the moment you have the pleasure, you will feel there is no pleasure in the pleasure. Because ultimately, pleasure is just a psychological trick to run away from griefs and pains of life. Generally, everybody is in a flight mode. Everybody is running away from something, but nobody knows where they are running and from what they are running. Because they are running from pains and griefs, but pains and griefs are the only truth of life. And sooner we accept this, better is the transition in us, and we realize the reality of life, that seeking pleasure is a temporary arrangement to hide the effects of life. Life is a continuous process from one quantum state to another like this. And pleasure means attaching yourself on the path in the midway. And this attachment leads to expectations from something which you are not. And that expectation, when not fulfilled, leads to emotional distractions, leads to emotional conflicts, leads to emotional breakdown, and the reaction of a general person is very aggressive. He will try to fetch his desires from other people, but he don't understand that fetching something from other people is not going to work, because every relation is based on give and take mechanism. People give something to you if you give them something in return, and that something is pleasure itself. So there is an exchange mechanism going on between any two living species, where the exchange is with pleasure. But as I said, pleasure is fake and elusive. Pains and griefs are real and true. But it's very hard to accept this fact. It takes some time, and generally during the last stage of life, just before death, people have access to this truth. Thank you. Have a nice day.